Welcome to another session of the Govern Like a Christian, or GLAC podcast. This is not just a podcast, but a call to join an American revival movement. Christians are the one group in the United States of America which have not been heard from during these toxic times. It is time for us to stand up and govern like a Christian. This means we apply Christian principles to every aspect of government. The establishment Democrats keep us poor, and the establishment Republicans won't let us get rich. The far left and progressives have left all sense of societal norms and values behind. They want to diminish our right to worship and teach our children according to our religious beliefs. The far right MAGA does not mean make America great again, but rather minimize anti-God attitudes. MAGA is taking the nation right into destructive hypocrisy. This allows hypocrites to proclaim God but govern contrary to God. Their hate-filled attitudes and chaos are attempts to return the USA to a dark time of racial divide, thus weakening the nation. Politicians on both sides try to pull us to the left or to the right, divide us, repress our freedoms, and in the end want us to choose the lesser of two evils. That time is over. Citizens identifying as Democrats, Republicans, and Independents can now enter primaries and eventually general elections, standing only on the platform to govern like a Christian. Stay with us and see how the GLAC policies are fair and aligned with Christian principles of how to govern and treat our neighbors fairly. In the last podcast, or part one of the USA economy, we introduced 3 of the additional principles that will work in concert with USA Investments and OAS Trade Block Investments. Now, let us cover the remaining 7 principles. Number 4, once again, the government will take seriously the responsibility to encourage and assist lower and middle income citizens to invest in safe ventures like the remaining 50% of ownership in successful foreign corporations operating in the USA, grocery stores, farms, home construction, and failed mortgages. Believe it or not, before the government bailed out all of those failed bank mortgages in the 2000s, we reached out to members of Congress, pleading with them not to do that. We suggested buying those bad loans for pennies on the dollar and then allowing citizens to purchase them as part of investment in mortgage retirement accounts. Those new mortgages would have been at a rate that kept families in homes and gained continuous income for those low and middle income investors. As you might know, the government opted instead to bail out most of those banks. The logic was they were too big to fail. GLAC believes that there should be no more financial institution bailouts. On another level, number 5, on another level, GLAC wants to ensure closed factories and businesses will be available to be owned and opened by former employees and citizen investors. State and federal governments need only coordinate business training and resources. This policy will prevent the abandoned buildings and rusted out factories throughout the USA. The economy will flow, and the richer the citizens become, the less they will be dependent on government. Number 6, as one more level of safety for citizens, the federal government will use the full force of the United States Department of Justice to identify and prosecute anyone trying to exploit legacy fund citizen investors from the lower and middle income groups. Number 7, GLAC demands no investments or corporate ownership in the United States by non-democratic communists or countries ruled by authoritative leaders. After all, Christian values do not allow us to partner with countries oppressing their people. Instead, these countries would be required to sell their investments in the United States to U.S. citizens. Number 8, the local minimum wages are long overdue, or the locality minimum wages. A national minimum wage is not required because the economies are different in each section of the country. GLAC lawmakers on the state and local level can devise locality minimum wages of $15 to $25 per hour. Number 9. As a matter of looking out for neighbors, GLAC wants every part of this great country to have toll-free numbers to anonymously report emergency needs of the elderly or others in our communities. 10. Last of all, so many may still be stuck on the legacy payments, and how does the government fund this? We know there is a segment that will claim the national debt and deficit will prevent this. The reality is GLAC sees this as investment in the future to eliminate the deficit and national debt. The federal government will only be required to contribute one half, and the other half will come from tax-free sponsorship donations of the philanthropic wealthiest. Therefore, the numbers will approximate 80 million households times 25,000, which equals 2 trillion, or 80 million households times 50,000 equals 4 trillion. Just consider all of the monies coming back into the U.S. Treasury in a short period of time will make a $1 to $2 trillion investment appear genius. There's so much we will be able to do when we are committed to govern like a Christian. Join us on the next GLAC podcast. Thank you, and God bless.